Let's get to a demo to see what we can do with these. Is it possible to start at the basics?
Of course
and work our way up, because in case no one's ever done this before.
Of course it is, yes.
Fabulous.
I'm all for showing the basics. So I'm going to use this Craftables one, the sort of diamond-shaped die. And they do cut beautifully when you run them through your machine. So I've got some card here. This is 300. So I'm just going to die cut that. I don't want to think about how it's going to be positioned on the card at this stage. So
okay.
I'm just going to, this is a piece of scrap card. So I'm just going to basically cut more or less, you know, quite close to it. So I'll run that through my machine and then I'll end up with this. So the holes are a good size. Some you have to poke out, you know, because they always get caught in there, but it's it does cut beautifully. And then I've just got some, this is embroidery thread that I've had in my stash for a while. So I'm going to stitch with this because it's quite nice and Christmassy. And the needle that you need is sort of an embroidery needle. So not really a sewing needle because you need a thicker one and one with a slightly bigger eye in it.
Of the one-day special, the details on the screen, 10% of the stock now has already gone. 10% of the stock of the one-day special now has already gone. Is there a certain thickness of thread that we need as well? Obviously, we don't want to go too thin because it's going to look a bit...
Yeah, this is probably at the thickest you'd want to go. But when we do the normal embroidery threads, which I've got some down here, so this is the normal embroidery skein. So with this one, then I would suggest you split it into two.
Or two skeins.
Yeah, split the skein into two. So you get 6 threads, so you work with 3. So you just split the 6 into half.
Into 3.
Yeah, yeah. So you've got and work with the 3. That's quite a good.
So that's the right thickness.
Yes,
and 3 skeins.
Yeah.
3 skeins is what you're looking for.
This is slightly thicker. So don't have, you know, a mega long piece. Have a, you know, just a short arm's length. And then with cross stitch, basically it's just diagonal stitches across one way and then diagonal stitches in the other direction coming the other way, just to make the cross basically. And the thing to remember is to work from the top down, because then you're not holding and squashing all your work as you go. So work from the top down. So whichever way I'm going to have this, I'm going to start here because I'm just going to work in this thread all the way along. So I'm going to do my first, this is 1 stitch. 4 holes is like, you can look at that as 1 stitch. So I've done the diagonal from bottom left to top right, and then I'm going to go back in and then do the other diagonal to make the cross. So that's my top first stitch. And then I'm going to come down to the second row, which is here, and come up at that bottom left-hand hole.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go diagonally to the top right hole. So always sort of look at it as squares. So this is the square here. So now I'm going to move on to this square. I'm not going to complete that stitch. It's easier just to do a run, a straight line of your diagonals all in this direction. Okay, so when you get to the end, then you can drop down to the bottom and then create your crosses all the way back along. And then you kind of finish and start and finish over to the left-hand side. So I'll just complete this one. So this is my 2 rows complete. I've done it this way instead of this way because I'll be jumping across quite a lot at the back. I'll be jumping my thread across.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's like a bit of a waste of thread. So I find it easier to work down and then it'll be neater and I won't be jumping across with the thread at the back. So now I'm on my 3rd row. So it's really easy and therapeutic to do. Great for young children to do. Children, young adults to do.
I'm guessing supervised if it's... I suppose you can get plastic
really
needles
young
now.
children, yeah, you can get more blunter needles, if, you know, so they don't hurt themselves. So, and this is great for beginners because you're not looking at a pattern, basically. You're just filling the holes with one colour thread and it'll look effective.
You're just doing crosses, that's all you're doing.
That's all you're doing, yeah. Now I'm going back. And also, because I'm going from left to right to do my first diagonals, and now I'm going back over them, what's a good practice as well is I'm going now down into a hole that's got 3 other threads in it.
Okay.
Yeah? So it's neater for me to push down. If I was going to push up, I might snag some of those threads and it might end up looking more messy. So I'm going, and it always works out like this if you go from top to bottom and then left to right.
Oh, so we always go back into the same hole as well to create designs?
Yes, yeah, you can have up to 4 threads, you know, in one hole. So what I was going to show is basically you just carry on in that manner, and then on the back really should be looking as neat as the front, really, if you're doing it right. So here I have lots of little stitches going the other way, straight stitches, and the loose thread has automatically been stitched over as well. You don't tie knots in your yarn, so it'll automatically get sewn in.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm just going to cut that off. No, I might finish that when I have some spare time. So what I want to do now is I'm just going to trim around these diagonal diamond shapes and use this piece as it is. So once I've stitched it, I'm going to snip and follow, because you can sort of see a basic outline from the die itself. So I'm going to follow that and cut all the way round, which I've done earlier, and it comes out like this. And I just think that's nice,
that's
just
cute.
On its own. So I've just cut this strip, and there you have the back where it all looks straight.
It does.
Okay, so I'm going to team this up with some lovely glitter paper, this is Marianne Design paper that was available on the previous show on the 28th, if anybody managed to get the glitter card.
Probably still on the website, if you have a little look.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's very sturdy. It's lovely. So I'm going to work with this, and also I'm going to mirror this pattern by just trimming the bottom to match, leaving a border. And I'm going to go back the other way. I should be holding it down a bit better, just so I make sure I get an even border all the way around, just on this bottom edge, and then trim it to size, which this card is pretty much the right size that I want. Okay, and then I get a piece like this, and I've trimmed it down to fit my card blank. It's actually a bit wider than an A6, so I've chosen a 5x7 card. So I need to trim this down just so it fits nicely, which I've done here. And I've trimmed it down a bit at the bottom as well, just to make it a nice looking shape. Looks a bit like a crown, doesn't it?
It does.
You can make some party, you know, or Christmas crowns.
It really does look beautiful. If you've got the candles, the battery-operated candles, they would work really well on this.
Oh, to surround them?
Yeah.
That's a lovely idea. Yeah, I like that, Adam.
Don't sound so surprised, sir.
So I'm just going to put some glue across the top. Ashley, you are good with your ideas.
Thanks.
Yeah. I'm just going to stick it across the top because I kind of like the fact that it can lift up naturally. And with this piece, I'm just going to add
this was my next question. How do we stick this down? Because it's got the threads on, so what would you say would stick it down? Glue, red liner tape, foam tape?
I'm just going to use some foam pads, actually. Yeah, I'm just going to use some foam pads. I don't really want to use glue because that could seep through into the holes. So I'm just going to put a...
How about red liner tape?
No, I wouldn't use that, actually. I just think the colour might show.
Oh, OK.
Yes, I quite like the fact that these are white.
Yeah, but red liner tape's clear, sir.
Oh, it is, isn't it? It's the backing that's pinky red
The red
colour.
liner is red, yeah.
Of course. Yes, you could use that then. Yes. I just automatically thought, oh, no, it's the colour. But you're right, it is clear. They shouldn't call it red liner tape, should they?
I wouldn't take on red liner tape, so I wouldn't take that on. It's bigger than me and you put together. I wouldn't take them on. But maybe you bought foam pads in the happy hour that we had at 3 o'clock.
Oh, drop that one.
I'd read that in the Sun. Sue Smith takes on red liner. Oh,
no.
Can see it now. High Court in London. Red liner tape rolls in.
OK.
Literally
right.
rolls in. See.
So we just finished the card. I'm going to use this lovely Xmas. I just love the size of this. I just think it's great. So I've cut that out of the same 300 GSM card, actually.
It cuts
and
beautifully.
I've actually cut it out 3 times.
Ooh.
Because what I want to do is I want to create a nice chunky caption that's going to stand out. So I'm placing some glue in several places here because I just want to stack them up. And I want to get like a caption that's kind of a bit chipboardy looking.
Yeah, 300 as well, so 369, it's like
Yes,
900 GSM.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if the beady-eyed people amongst you, if you can see like a little pink shadowing around this, that's actually coming off the die. Because it's brand new and I've just used it, some of the paint is just coming off. But that'll get less and less. So, you know, be mindful of that. If you're going to stick this onto white card, it might show. But after a few runs through your machine, it's going to be fine. So I'm going to stick another one on, and then I get this quite nice chunky caption.
Chunky.
Chunky. So I'm just going to stick this on my card, just as it is. I just want to keep it simple and plain. So I'm not going to use any of the stamps with it. I'm just going to use this as
Sometimes you don't need to, because the stitching's done all the work.
That's right, yeah. Sometimes less is more, isn't it?
That's what they say about me.
So got some glue on there. OK, so I'm just going to place that centrally
Adam, remember,
on there.
less is more.
Squash it down. I'm going to press it down so it tries to adhere to that glitter card. And then that's all it needs, I think.
Look at that.
There you go. So, and these cross-stitch dies are not too big, so you can have a little quick session with them and create lots of different colours and have fun.
It is absolutely beautiful.